Eric Allen inside the BetMGM studios. The New York Jets complete their 2021 season with a 27-10 loss to the Buffalo Bills. As we bring in both Eric Coleman and Anthony Becht. Eric, I want to read you a quote from head coach Robert Saleh after this game. Clearly, we've got a long way to go if we want to close the gap with the Buffalo Bills.
Absolutely. I mean, and that should be the goal. You know, the Buffalo Bills are the winners of the AFC East. They're the champs. They're who everyone's going to be chasing next year. And for the Jets, yes, they do have some ways to go. You saw that in this game, there were opportunities for the Jets. I thought the defense played well. They kept the team in the game for the most part. After that first drive by the Buffalo Bills, they were lights out, forcing punts, getting pressure on the quarterbacks. I thought the defensive backs played extremely well. Great communication on the back end. Offensively, they just weren't able to get it going. I mean, you're on your second, you're on the third string receivers against the league's number one secondary. It's tough to get separation. So that causes a lot of sacks, causes the Buffalo Bills to not respect the run game, not respect the passing game and load up the box to stop the run. So it makes things difficult for you. But ultimately, the Jets are not far away from this Buffalo Bills team. And with a couple of pieces and some growth from these young players, I think that they'll be in this position in a year or two.
Anthony, the Buffalo Bills had 424 yards today. The New York Jets just 53. The Bills 25 first downs. The Jets 4 first downs. You're not going to see offensive efforts like that too much in the National Football League. But let's talk about the big picture and Zach Wilson. Let's start with him right there. He got the Jets on the board with that 4th down conversion to Keelan Cole. It's hard to operate when you have so many backups around you, not only at the wide receiver position, but at the offensive line spots, because the Jets couldn't get anything going on the ground, and then a lot of breakdowns in pass protection. And then on top of that, Wilson held on to the ball quite a bit today, 9 sacks in all for the Buffalo Bills.
Well, there's a lot of teaching going on in this season in the film for him. You know, he can go back and learn a lot from the quarterback position. There's a lot of little things that obviously week to week, game to game, play to play, he'll have to continue to work on and get better and learn from. You know, the fact that he was able to kind of finish out the year, came back from an injury, you know, had a nice stretch for a couple games, got a couple Rookie of the Week honors, which were really nice to get that confidence boost. But overall, you're right. I mean, to not have all your players there, you have to support and have a cast around a rookie quarterback. That's linemen, that's backs, that's receivers. And quite frankly, it's another story to tell, the story of the injury bug, guys that were down, guys that were missing, guys that got hurt today in this game. And once Jamison Crowder was not available, that kind of was lights out for him as far as finding that play or player to make those plays. You're right. Keelan Cole had a nice slant cut on that 4th down play, which was good to see, breaking tackles and outrunning the defense, really, not breaking tackles. But, you know, big picture, I think you're right. You have to look at it from a larger perspective and say, okay, you know, holding the ball too long, getting the ball out fast, understanding the pressures and blitzes that you saw as a player this year, and really start, you know, everybody talks about him in the building, how much time, how much work he puts in. This is a huge year for him because, again, all the ammunition, which we'll talk about later in the show, that you're going to have to either come back from being hurt to being healthy, and then all the extra picks and all those things, you know, you really feel good about what this offseason can lie and how you can go into the season next year seeing a little bit of promise on both sides of the ball.
Zach Wilson today in Buffalo, 7 of 20 for 87 yards with the 1 touchdown. No interceptions for a 5th consecutive game, but he was sacked 8 times. The Jets held to 10 points in this one. Our own Bob Wischusen, the voice of the Jets, talked to the rookie signal caller after the game.
Zach, I'm sure disappointed to end the season the way that you did. But you know what? Can we start with something I haven't been able to ask you about this season? And you're a leader on this team. You're the quarterback. How about the play of your defense? And I would think you'd probably want to talk a little bit about how those guys performed today. They kept you in the game for a long time today. Second half of the season, so many young guys playing as well on the defensive side of the ball. But tell me about your thoughts about that group.
Yeah, a ton of guys stepping up, man. Those guys were fighting all day. Man, I can't tell them, good job enough. I thought they did an amazing job of just, they were fighting. We weren't doing anything to help them out on offense. The defense was just clawing. They were doing everything they could, and they really did a good job. That's a really good explosive offense right there, and especially the young guys stepping up. Guys maybe that haven't played, all around on defense, those guys are doing an amazing job. So, credit to those guys. There's some good stuff over there. We gotta get some things going on offense.
How about the battle, though, for your offense today? What do you think you'll take out of this game? I'm sure statistically there's not much to point towards, but, this is really, with all the injuries you guys are having to fight through, that had to be a tough sledding all day long.
Yeah, it was a rough day. I mean, I would say as an offense, it just had to be one of those things, just keep fighting, keep going. I didn't see quit from one person, all the way up until the very end. Guys were giving it their all, and that's all you can ask for in that situation. As tough as it is and the emotions going up and down, you just got to look at the guy next to you and just say, let's handle our job and let's keep going. We got to handle this thing.
And final question, just on your development, now that the entire season is behind you, you haven't thrown an interception since early December, more efficient, you look more comfortable, you look more in command. I mean, do you think you are going to take what's happened these last couple of months of this season into the offseason as a major stepping stone forward? What are your big takeaways?
Yeah, I got to find the positives in it all. I feel like just how comfortable I've been, my understanding of the offense, and then the guys just working around me, the connection I've had with guys around me, and the O-line figuring it out up front. Those guys did an awesome job, as the year just kept going on. And so, we're just going to try and take this thing running into the offseason and find the positives, especially from a game like this where, it was a tough situation for everybody. And we just need to learn from this and just keep getting better.
Well, thanks so much. Been so gracious with your time all season long. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.
You are watching Jets Overtime presented by Nissan. I'm Eric Allen inside the BetMGM studios. The New York Jets conclude the 2021 season with a 27-10 loss to the Buffalo Bills today. Buffalo will be playing next week, hosting a game at Highmark Stadium against either the New England Patriots or the Los Angeles Chargers. But right now it's not looking good for the Chargers. They're down 10-0 to the Silver and Black. The Raiders have a lead in this game. It was a crazy Week 18 throughout the National Football League as we bring back both Eric Coleman and Anthony Becht. I want to spend a large portion of this show talking big picture. Anthony, what should a Jets fan feel about what they've seen from Zach Wilson here, the rookie quarterback, especially down the stretch, the way he performed coming back from the PCL sprain, protecting the football, accumulating 9 touchdowns in all, just 3 turnovers during that stretch. This was a 5th consecutive game without an interception, even though the offense couldn't get anything going.
Yeah, I saw some improvement in some areas from him this year. Later on in the season, being able to understand his progressions, getting the ball out of his hands. A lot of these games sometimes get out, the score gets out and he's trying to hold on to the ball a little bit, trying to make some plays. It's always tough to gauge. It's going to be a monster offseason for him. I mean, he really has to immerse himself with now that full year offseason training, working with the receivers, and really just preparing himself. And it doesn't automatically mean doing all those things in the offseason that he'll immediately be that guy to start the season next year that everybody's kind of expecting. There's still going to be a growth process. He still doesn't have a full season under his belt because he did miss some games being injured. But, you can definitely hang your hat on a few things. I mean, the kid improved in a bunch of areas where you can say, that Bucs game, really good. First half of that Tennessee Titan game, really good. So you see the splashes, you see those things, and then, can he go out with his teammate and his roster, have a full army with him? I mean, that's going to be a bigger thing too. And that dives into the bigger picture of, okay, with the injuries and the guys down, working on the training and understanding, what it's going to take to keep everybody healthy and, all these guys that they have on their staff with the workouts and the wellness and all those things. Guys have to find a way to be healthy, and everybody deals with injuries every year. But we just seem to see so many important players go down for this Jet team that you're almost thinking, man, like what could they have done if they had all those pieces around Zach every single week? What could they have done on defense when they played really well in a lot of games? Like today, for most of the game if they had, the other 60% of the starters on the field. So it's tough as a head coach and a coordinator and individual positional coaches when you're coaching guys up and you want them to do good. But some of those guys just quite aren't NFL starters yet, but they're getting thrown into the fire. So a lot of valuable reps for players this year, in particular, like you said, Zach Wilson. But hopefully all these experiences and everything else that happens in the offseason can propel this team to take a bigger jump and get to that 500 to the winning side, maybe even beyond. Who knows if they can stay healthy and get the right pieces together.
The Jets were quite fortunate to be in this game, and that was due to the play of their defense and Bills punter Matt Hawk, who had an awful time of it today in Buffalo. With that being said, the defense, led by C.J. Mosley, 13 tackles today. Can you talk about not only the Jets team MVP, but the play of the secondary? Because, Stephon Diggs got his, but I thought the Jets' coverage, by and large, was very good today.
Yeah, I think C.J. Mosley did a great job. After those first couple of drives by Buffalo, the defense really calmed down and shut down the Bills' offense. I thought C.J. was amazing. He was lights out. He was making tackles from sideline to sideline like he's been doing all season. He's been the leading tackler for this team, one of the leading tacklers in the league, a great leader. And then when you look at the secondary, Stephon Diggs early in the first quarter, he got his. He was eating, and he was doing a great job. He made some spectacular catches. He's an excellent route runner. But the secondary calmed down. I think that after a while, you get back to the sideline and you look at each other and say, listen, I think we can guard these guys. And they did a great job. I thought Bryce Hall did a great job defending players. Michael Carter II made a couple of plays. And you have to be excited about that. These are young players who are just thrown into the fire, who are reacting well. And they're growing, they're getting experience, they're not flinching when the moment comes to them. And I love to see it. When you add those other weapons, you add the Carl Lawson into the mix, you get healthy around the linebacking core. It's going to be special. It's going to be special when you get these guys going, and they're not having to play these starting roles where they get all the downs. They can play complementary roles, and you have some other playmakers as well. So, overall, I think Jeff Ulbrich did a great job all season. He and his defensive staff did a great job of coaching these guys up. You got guys coming off practice squad. You got free agents coming from other teams. They're sticking them in the game. They're not making mental mistakes. There's not communication errors. They're doing a great job of playing within the scheme of the defense. That's great coaching. That's great players just having a really good knowledge of the game and going out and applying it.
C.J. Mosley was super today for the Jets and all season long for that matter. 168 tackles. Today he had 10 solo tackles in the first half. He finished with 13 tackles in all. That's his 11th game with double-digit tackles here this season. And another player who played awfully well for the Jets defensively, Quincy Williams, a waiver find from Jacksonville. He finished with more than 100 tackles this season. He had 5 stops today and a pass defense. And our Caroline Hendershot talked to Quincy after the game.
Here with linebacker Quincy Williams, can you talk about the defense, how we were able to rebound after the Bills' hot start tonight?
We just came back in and went to do your job type mentality. So we're coming back out. We just had to execute better than they were executing. That was the main thing. So they came out and showed their hand. So then after that, we just made corrections to that and came out with a few stops coming in the second half.
Yeah, the defense was really able to give the team a chance today with so many offensive weapons out of the lineup. How did you guys neutralize the Bills' explosive offense for those long stretches?
Like I said, really just doing our job, keeping it simple. We knew they was going to come with a simple game. So the main thing was we wanted more than they wanted it. So we executed better than they did really on those drives. And the few drives we came up short, it was more just like doing your job, really.
Now, you guys already faced the Bills week 10. What did you see in the growth of the defense from your Jets defense from week 10 to this Sunday?
The main thing is everybody doing their job, not letting the ball get past us, being more stickier on wide receivers, not letting wide receivers run away from us. And the main thing was just keeping Josh in the pocket and just trying to control him with different looks and stuff like that. But like I said, at some point, games are won and lost on which person makes the most mistakes. So that's kind of what happened today, honestly.
Yeah. And what did you think about the effort that the defense gave, specifically one of the defense's leaders, C.J. Mosley, and how he kind of helped lead this performance?
The main thing, we come into this game with a to the wheels fall off mentality, and I think we took that literally this time because we went down to the wire to the wheels fall off. Injuries, whether that's well, actually, it was a lot of blood for real, a lot of cuts. The turf was kind of rough, especially because it was cold. So really just till the wheels fall off, not quitting. That's the main thing. And no matter what situation came with us, whether that was a turnover, whether that was a short field, long field, the main thing was just doing our job and keeping it moving until the wheels fall off.
Well, thanks so much for your time, Quincy, and thanks for a great season. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Prior to today's game, the Jets' opponents had been locked in for the 2022 season. Based on the NFL schedule rotation, the Jets will battle teams from the AFC North and NFC North. With their fourth place finish in the AFC East, the Jets are set to take on the fourth place finishers in the AFC South, AFC West, and NFC West. 6 of the Jets' 17 games in 2022 will be against teams who made the playoffs in 2021, including those 2-game sets with the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots, in addition to a home game against the Cincinnati Bengals and a road date with the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. For more on today's game, the Jets' 27-10 loss to the Buffalo Bills, let's go to Ethan Greenberg, who caught up with Elijah Vera-Tucker.
Now joined by Jets offensive lineman Elijah Vera-Tucker. Elijah, your rookie season in the books. This game obviously didn't go the way that you wanted it to. What was the communication like up front with all of the Bills fans really roaring at a high level today?
Yeah, it was definitely a great atmosphere to play in. Shout out to the Bills fans. They come ready. But I feel like communication for how loud it was good. Dan Finney was being loud at center. Guards were echoing calls to the tackles. But overall, I feel like communication was good.
Elijah, what was the difference in the ground game the past 2 weeks to today, where you didn't really get a lot of ground mustered today?
Yeah, I think that was just credit to their defense. A whole lot of movements at the safety level. Safety coming down from one side, rotating. Just being able to make one guy free, and then that one guy who was free was just making plays. Just one guy too many. So shout out to their defense.
Elijah, something that Robert Saleh said earlier this week was talking about how, because the Jets are such a young team, he wanted all the players to feel the type of urgency that the Bills were to play with Sunday. What did you see, and what do you think that you'll learn from playing a game like this where the Bills have the division on the line and they have to win it to claim the title?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a learning experience, just to see, again, from their point of view. And, like I said, too, it was a good experience, for the young guys to come in here, experience what the Buffalo fans like. That's what it's going to be like every year. So, I mean, we're excited to, come back next year and ball out.
Lastly here, Elijah, can you just talk about, from a wide angle lens here, a little bit about your growth throughout the year and what you've seen from the offensive rookies in particular, and Zach Wilson, Michael Carter, and just throughout the entire year, including yourself?
Yeah, I mean, from game 1 to game 17, I think every rookie on the opposite side of the ball, definitely improved a whole lot. You saw Zach towards the end of the year making good plays, making good reads, and then Michael Carter, hitting the holes, breaking tackles. It's always a good thing for a running back. Offensive line loves that too. When a running back could break 1 or 2 tackles every play. And then obviously Elijah Moore, unfortunately wasn't healthy towards the end of the season, but from the games he was in there, you saw what he could do. And then I think that just translates to next season. How excited we all are for the future, and then also for this whole team. Yeah, we're a young team, but I could say this: we're all going to go back, into this off season, grind our tails off, because we know what this team is capable of, and we're excited about it.
Awesome, Elijah. Appreciate the time. Thank you. Congratulations on your rookie year.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The Jets started 10 rookies this season, tied for most in the National Football League. As we look ahead to the offseason, the Jets have 9 draft picks, including 2 in rounds 1, 2, 4, and 5, plus the 4th most cap space in the National Football League, just under $61 million. Anthony, it was finalized today. The Jets will pick number 4 overall in that first round, and they also own the 10th selection in April's draft, courtesy of the Jamal Adams trade with Seattle. Seattle won today, but they still get 2 picks in the top 10.
Man, that graphic was great. I mean, think about it this year. How many rookies came in, started, and really were the key players for this football team? I mean, you know, Carter, Vera-Tucker, I mean, Zach. These guys literally instantly stepped on the field and were contributors. And then you look at that draft. I mean, I'm just looking at that. I think there was 9 picks there.
Mm-hmm.
You should get 4 starters for. I mean, that's the kind of caliber of players. That's the minimum, in my opinion. I mean, so you got a draft coming up, where you got to be like, if you're not a Jet fan and you're not excited about that, then I don't know what's going on. You're talking about the money. I mean, you go find yourself some players. You're going to pay some of your own players. You got to get some contracts done, but you can really reboot. That's a lot of draft picks in the first, second, third round, all right, that those kind of players should be coming on the field and like, okay, they can come on there and play now and contribute, because we've seen it this past season. So I can't wait. You want you as a fan, you're watching the season, everything that's going on, you want to see wins. You want to see this team do great. You've seen the ups and downs throughout the year. But when you look at that and you say, okay, those guys got all that experience under the belt, and you can get this much more added onto the roster, man, I'm telling you now, that's something to think about, and that's going to be big for this organization, this team.
We're not even talking about Carl Lawson or Mekhi Becton. You're expecting both those guys to be back on this roster and 100% once the season starts. Anthony just talked about the guys on the offensive side of the ball contributed in their first years. How about Brandon Eccles? Today he had 5 tackles and a tackle for loss. Jason Pinnock, a day 3 pick as well, actually started at safety down the stretch. Michael Carter II had 3 tackles today and a pass defense. Sure, he got beat on an unbelievable throw from Josh Allen to Dawson Knox, but both sides of the ball, this draft class was good this year. It's got a chance to be special, and if Joe Douglas can follow it up with another, he probably hit a home run here this year, fellas. If he can just hit a double next year, the future's looking really bright for the Jets.
Yeah, it is looking bright. I mean, you talk about all those young players that contributed this season. It's really great to see them go out there and get that experience, and to know how many draft picks they have coming into next year. Anthony was talking about the first, second, and third round, finding a starter. The 2 fifth-round picks, that's where you find most of your value right there.
Here we go. Hey, Michael Carter II was awesome this year.
No. All jokes aside, there's so much talent that developed this year. A lot of opportunities next year coming in, and this is what you need out of those good, stable organizations. You need to develop that talent through the draft, help those players continue to grow. And I think that you saw a lot of young players grow this year who are going to contribute a lot next year. You add some more to the fold with that. Then you sprinkle on some Carl Lawson, Mekhi Becton getting back into the fold. You sprinkle in a couple of first-round picks and some free agents. I mean, the sky is the limit. The sky's the limit. And you can tell by the attitude of the players. You can tell by the way that they go out there and play that they believe in Coach Saleh. They believe in all the coordinators. They believe in the scheme. And it's really exciting to see.
Yeah, Mike LaFleur was great for this team. I mean, today he was handcuffed. And you mentioned Jeff Albrecht before, a good shot out there, because what the Jets did defensively today, they had no right being in this game considering what kind of offensive production you were getting, but they were sitting right there in the second half, 13-10. So, Anthony, yes, the Bills put this baby away late, but again, I go back to all those guys who weren't on the field today. Offensively, you're really hamstrung, but for the Jets, I got to imagine you want to address a lot of issues defensively, but continue to build around Zach Wilson as well.
Of course. I mean, you're going to be able to get some corners, a safety. You're going to be able to add another receiver if you'd like. And these are going to be starting quality caliber guys. And to Eric Coleman's point, yeah, you're going to get some bonus players in those later rounds that if they do pan out, it's going to be really good for this team. So, you mentioned Ulbrich. I want to mention, Mike LaFleur. I'll tell you, I really enjoyed, this offense throughout the season, in particular when the back was against the wall with some of the backup quarterbacks, third string quarterbacks. I like the play design, some of the unique plays that he came up with week in and week out. And again, it is a struggle to work with some of the players sometimes that are not available and are available. And I felt like there was a lot of plays, obviously, that were left on the field that they didn't make and execute. And those plays, obviously, which didn't execute, they were still good. They were still there. And him going up in the box, again, and for him, first-time play caller, as far as being the guy, trying to find out where his perfect spot is, where to do it on the field, tried it out, went upstairs, whatever it was. He clearly is a lot more comfortable. He's got his eyes on the field. And to me, that was a big jump for this offense when he decided to go upstairs. And he'll be up there probably now for the rest of his career. So I really enjoyed the growth of what the offense was when they had their most weapons available in those particular weeks. And again, it's something to think about. Like, okay, when these guys come back, when Becton's back, when a couple of these other weapons, they get through the draft and off season and free agency, that's what you can be. And I think it's a really good sell, especially for free agents in particular. If you want to get some on the offensive side, they can go back and watch that film and say, okay, they got something going here, and just got to execute a little better, take it to the next step. But that's a hell of a start for them in year one.
What were you most impressed by with Robert Saleh in year one? Because this was a team that took a lot of beatings behind the woodshed early on in the year. You didn't see that late.
No, you didn't. And I think I was most impressed with the way that he changed the culture of the organization. Yes, they did take some whoopings, but they kept fighting. They kept believing in one another. And there was never a time where you looked out there on the field and you said, oh, the Jets quit. They were always giving their best effort. They were always enthusiastic. They were doing their job. Yes, sometimes offensively it wouldn't work out. Yes, defensively you would give up a big play here and there, but they never doubted themselves. They were always positive. They believe in one another. And for me, that's really exciting when you look at a coach coming in with a new message, with a new way of thinking, a way of approaching the game, for all the players to buy in the way they have. For the veterans to buy in, for the rookies. You never heard about any rifts in the locker room. I think this is super exciting, and it's just going to get better. Guys love playing for Robert Saleh. They love playing for Brant Boyer. They love playing for Ulbrich and LaFleur. They love playing for these guys. And like Anthony said, free agents are going to be attracted to that because players talk in the offseason. They talk about, oh, how's your coach? What's your scenario look like? And players are going to be talking, yes, you need to come here. This team is going up. The culture is great. Coach shows us love. The energy is infectious, and we're going to win. So I think that this team is definitely moving up, and I'm excited to see it.
Anthony, this totally has a different feel. Yes, the Jets missed the playoffs for 11th consecutive season. That is an NFL high, but you do get the sense that things are definitely pointing in the right direction with this staff paired up with Joe Douglas and his personnel staff.
Yeah, I said this earlier in the season. I said in the middle of the season, if Joe Douglas and Chad Alexander and Rex Hogan and this staff and their personnel guys and Phil Savage, if those four minds can't put it together and find a way, nobody can. Those are some of the most, valued guys when they were at their particular locations before they got here, whether it was Indy or Philly or the Baltimore. And that's a heck of a collection of guys that have some real experience in recruiting and real experience in seeing players and have a good eye for them and learn from some of the best. And that's something you gotta feel good about. I mean, a lot of these rookies this year really did pay off. They were really good picks, and they did a lot for this team this year, and they got a lot of really good reps. And of course, moving forward, they're going to have to do the very same thing. I mean, there's a lot of pressure. It was always like, oh, you got to get the big first round pick and make sure he's the best guy. But now you're talking about, you got 10 picks this year, last year. I mean, there's a lot you can do to really help the organization and completely change the entire not just the culture, but really just the direction it's heading for a long time, because you're going to be really young at a lot of key places with guys under contract for a long time. So the key is sprinkling in those right free agents, trying to get the guys that love the game, that still want to play hard after they get that first payday, second payday for some of them, and go out there and help the young players thrive and grow. If they can do that, and then that's kind of where Saleh, his staff can step in, like Eric was talking about, and just put their thumbprint on it and get these guys all playing together quickly. And again, look, this is a show me now, win now business. You don't have 3, 4, 5 years to do these things. Mm-hmm. They're in a position now with these picks and everything that they have to speed this process up, and they have to. And that's any organization, because time is money for everybody, and it's a results business. And I fully expect this team to be a lot better, okay, with all these moves that are going to come up, with the experience and the plays and all the work that these players got this year, to really, I'm going to sign up for them next year, really making a splash. And that's what it's going to take. And I think the fan base needs to get excited about that.
That's a great closing point from you. So I'm going to leave it to E now. Shouldn't the expectation not only be within the building, but from the fan base, that the Jets are playing meaningful football down the stretch next season in 2022? I know the gap was big today against the Bills, but we talked about the ammo this team has in order to get better in the offseason. We talked about the foundation that is in place, and we talked about the guys who frankly weren't in the lineup today on the field. Isn't that the expectation for the Jets in 2022, next December and January? You should be in contention, playing meaningful football.
Absolutely. And this team will be. You look at the way that they developed. They're in a ton of games. They beat a couple of division winners. They were competitive. They almost beat the Super Bowl champs with a ton of guys injured. And this team is a bunch of fighters. And once everybody continues to buy into the program, once they continue to learn the scheme of the game, you look at the quarterback position. Zach Wilson started to show what he's capable of down the stretch of the year. Another offseason, get him an offseason in the NFL, getting in there with LaFleur, getting in there with his receivers, getting that relationship. This thing is going to blossom. They're going to put up points. The defense is going to stop teams. Special teams unit, you saw what Braxton Berrios was able to do. He should have been in the Pro Bowl. There's so much to look forward to when these guys get healthy, that they will definitely be playing meaningful football when it comes down next year in December, when you get into January, if not being in the playoffs.
Outstanding analysis from both Anthony Becht and Eric Coleman. Next year in Jets Overtime, they'll be entering year 3 as far as their commentary is concerned. So they're playoff ready. They'll be primed and ready to go for 2022. The Jets finished their season today in Buffalo with a 27-10 loss to the Bills. Buffalo is the AFC East division champions for the Jets. They finished the season 4-13. But the bottom line, this team has promising prospects here for next year and beyond. It's going to be an exciting offseason. Thanks for tuning in to Jets Overtime throughout the year. From all of us at One Jets Drive, good night.